Good evening, fellow adventurers, and welcome to our first edition of D&D Storytime. Hey guys!
It's 5th edition!
Okay, fine, 5th edition, whatever. Larry from L&T Productions, and welcome to D&D Storytime. We have our ritual in the background here, but you probably... you probably...
We also have me, Bloodshriker, the Dungeon Master!
And if you're watching this video, you're probably plenty acquainted with whatever D&D is. I hear it's a tabletop game that we occasionally play sometimes, and that you DM for, Bloodshriker.
Yes, I am the Dungeon Master, the god of a world of my own creation,
Yeah, he's the Dungeon Master, and I am one of the many players, including Rye Ritual, and of course a couple of other people who we're not going to give codenames to, we'll just reference them by name. There's one man named Gage, one lady, this will be referred to like this, named Lydia, and one gentleman named Christian. Yeah, named Christian.
With the highest body count of any man alive.
Anyway, now, to start off, Bloodshriker will open up with a lovely story.
Okay, so, let's start off. This story shall be called, He's Our Squire. So...
Plot twist.
Yes. So, the players were starting this campaign where... How do I describe this campaign? I mean, basically all the players were in this town called Mulemaster, which is run by a group of different, like, cultists and different organizations. And the whole campaign, for one, was just a sequence of them going to the same party at Mr. Saj's estate and getting assigned different quests. The first quest was, there was this whole fight thing that broke out, and this one guard was like, hey, these guys kidnapped my brother, go rescue him.
Being the generic good guys that we are, we went to go rescue him.
Yeah, the players obviously won. And to go rescue him, there's a couple little obstacles in the way, and then they fought like a bunch of guards and cultists, then some other enemies, floating blood orbs.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
Anyway, after they had defeated all of them and rescued the man, a bunch of guards just swarmed in out of nowhere. And as in the next bit of what happens with all the guards, there's one of our players, Christian, is like, okay, I rolled a deception. I got a nat 20. All right, what do you say to him? I'm not with these guys. So the guards heard this and immediately acted, oh, you're not with them? Well then, and that man that you just saved was our squire, thank you! You're not with him? I guess you're one of the cultists that kidnapped him!
Yep.
Let's all murder him!
The biggest backfire, like the quickest backfire we've ever had in a campaign. Me, being the idiot I am, I actually stood up for Christian. I'm like, no, he was joking. We stood down, and I wholeheartedly regret that now, because he deserved whatever they're about to do to him, but...
Yeah, it was a very boneheaded move to try to use deception before the guards even got to say anything!
Yeah. So the moral of the story is, careful who you deceive, I think.
Yeah.
That's what we'll get from that. But did Christian learn his lesson? No. Anywho, so, same campaign.
Why don't we vanquish our foe?
Don't you dare. So, our party was once again hired to attend this party. And we were all guards there.
That happened every single week, mind you.
So I was in charge of being the spy master there, so I'm just observing, like, the whole entire area from the shadows, and just going like, yes, things are nice. One of our companions, Shorty, is also just mingling with the crowd. Another one of our companions, Brightwood, is also just kind of checking things out. Meanwhile, Christian is walking around in the crowd, and things seem totally normal.
And then I describe how a cultist gives him a little bit of a dirty look, because, you know, they had just taken out a bunch of cultists. The cultist was like, hey, that's the guy who murdered a bunch of our guys. So he just gave, I described how he just gave him a dirty look.
Yeah, it was a dirty look. So it's like, so the cultist gives you a dirty look. What do? So Christian looks the DM straight in the eye with a conviction to save the universe from utter destruction, and he says, I strangled the cultist. And we all look at him and we say, Christian, that's a really fucking stupid idea. You're surrounded by people. Everyone's gonna see you do it. He says, I strangle the cultists. So we're like, okay. So he grabs onto the cultist immediately yells for help. The other cultists grab Christian, throw him to the ground, and then he's pinned down, and the cultist yells, guards! Guards! And all of the guards show up to, like, apprehend Christian. And my character, because he's a guard, shows up as well. And I rolled to see if I recognize it's Christian. I got a 2. So I just run up to, like, Christian's character, just grab him by the shoulder. I'm like, sir, you're under arrest. You need to comply with us. And Christian just, like, backs away. So the guards point their weapons at him and say, you have one chance to save yourself. What do you say in your defense? And Christian looks them right in the eye again and points at the cultist and shouts, he's a cultist. And they're like,
keep in mind, this is a town run by cultists!
Yeah, so it's like, wow, okay. So, the guards all pull out their weapons, again, I guess they're like dual-wielding weapons now, and the battle begins. Our party had fought cultists that were pretty much on par with the guards we're fighting now. There were 4 of us and 8 of them, and we barely won. There is one of Christian and about 20 of these guards, and Christian says, don't worry, I can take these guys. I'll just hit one with my sword and then breathe fire on another, because he's playing as a dragonborn, and then shoot a third one with my bow and stab a fourth one with our javelin. We're all looking around like, does anyone want to tell him that'll take like 4 turns? We're like, no, just let him go. But then Christian realizes, okay, wait, that will require multiple turns.
So he tries to run away.
He attempted to run away, but he's backed against the corner, so he turns around, face plants into the wall. Then he tries to surrender, but because he got his chance to surrender, no. Not happening. So he was apprehended by the guards. The penalty for this assault is death. So Gage says, can I kill him? So they bring out the guillotine, put it on a stage, everyone's cheering, they shove Christian into it, any last words? And Christian looks up and says, he's a cultist. And that is one of the many deaths he has accumulated. So, after all of that, do you think Christian officially learned his lesson?
So, once again, in the same campaign, I described to the players how they're just sort of monitoring around, they're all in this tavern, and they heard this peasant girl crying. So, first, good old Larry walks up.
You're gonna tell this part.
Yep. Good old Larry walks up to her and is like, oh, what's wrong? And she says,
I'm lawful good, by the way.
Yeah, and she says, oh, my sister, she's gone to these caves that are incredibly dangerous to get us some money. Christian walks up to her, says, don't worry, she's probably already dead. So,
it was something like, no, she's already dead, just get over it, it's not a huge loss anyway. She wasn't that great, like something like that, just something like...
in a most logical response possible, she ran away, and then of course Larry's character started running after her. Meanwhile, everyone else was just sort of sitting in the bar.
Yeah, thanks guys. Ruin a girl's life and then just like get a drink at the bar.
Christian, not realizing that he never said he was also chasing after her, said, oh, I'll roll to apologize. He got a 1, so he looks towards a random man and says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I rolled for the man's reaction. He got a 3. He said, it's okay. It's alright, man. Christian then rolls to say, oh, sorry, wrong person. Gets another 1. He slaps him in the face. And thus, a bar fight breaks out. So I have everyone roll initiative. Well, Larry's off talking with the girl and trying to learn what they actually need to do for the quest. First of Christian's turn. Rolls to hit. It does 12 damage. It's like, wait, 12 damage? What are you attacking with? My great axe. He grabs out his great axe and decapitates the guy he just slapped.
Not even using non-lethal damage, just straight up murders him.
So, also, once again, very logical response, the bartender looks over at the bouncer and says, can you deal with this? The bouncer walks up, and I describe the bouncer in this golden-plated armor that's like glowing with magical energy, wielding two-handed weapons in either hand. So that, and Christian attempts to attack the bouncer. He got a 19, so that means he got a 23 to hit, and I looked at it with the most serious face I could, and I said, "You missed." Because little did he know, what I had given this bouncer was an armor class of 30 and two two-handed weapons in either arm that were magically enchanted.
And before any of you accuse us of, like, mainly Bloody, of this being an extremely unfair fight, this is not the first time Christian had done something like this. Literally, for the past, like, campaigns over and over, he had attempted to sabotage our party multiple times and pulled shit like this on a daily basis. We were sick of it.
So, I was like, now it's the bouncer's turn, and he gets to roll to hit with his two weapons. Meanwhile, also, as soon as Christian decapitated the guy, all the other attendants ran out of the building. I roll to hit for the bouncer, and, not joking, got a natural 20. I was like, ooh!
Yeah, it's never good when, like, the DM looks at the roll and goes, ooh, that's... Ooh.
So, I rolled damage, looked Christian dead in the eye, and said, so, he does, what was it, like, 40 damage? However, he did it non-lethally.
Because
which
he's a
means
nice guy.
He used the back end of his, like, massive sword and knocked Christian out. And, yeah. Christian, started a bar fight, turned it into a murder session, and immediately got knocked the fuck out.
But at the very least, I still managed to get the quest.
Yep, later on they did manage to get the quest and actually do it, while Christian was spending time in jail.
But that's a story for another time. So, for this final story, I don't think... No, this was the same campaign. I was playing as a brand new character because I didn't really like playing as a rogue, so I switched to a character named Krendor. And Krendor has a cat named Wisp. Now, Wisp is kind of our anti-cheating device, because Wisp is no ordinary cat. Wisp is probably the most powerful living being in the universe. However, no one knew the extent of Wisp's power up to this point. Right? Whenever people ask, Krendor would just simply say, just don't get Wisp mad. Wisp is a nice cat, just don't get him mad. And Wisp cannot use any of his power lest he risk causing Ragnarok, and I'm dead serious.
So, the players all were standing on a bridge.
On a bridge.
And
Christian... I told you to remember the story as soon as I started telling you.
Christian says...
This is my story, let me do it. Yeah, so, there's this gigantic bridge, and we all decide, okay, we need to climb down this bridge. So I tie some hempen rope to the bridge, and I grab on and roll athletics, get like a 2, I just slip and fall like a bunch of feet. And everyone else tried doing the same thing except for Christian. Same thing. Everyone just slipped and fell off the rope. And at the end, Bloodshriker was like, at this point, as soon as you fall off, you realize the rope is actually made of butter. But anyway, Christian, on the other hand, looks at the bridge, like looks at the huge drop. He says, "Can I jump down?"
And I looked at him, serious face, and I was like, "You can try!"
So Christian leapt down, fell off this 250-foot drop, and because it's Dungeons & Dragons, it didn't instantly kill him, but it took a gigantic amount of damage. So then we're all just lying here, like...
He was at, like, 2 health.
Yeah, we were all, like, broken and bloodied, and I used my healing spells to heal everybody, and we get up, and for some reason, he blamed Wisp for it.
And I described, you know, in a joking way...
This was a joke, let's make this very clear, it was a joke.
That Wisp was standing like, after Christian jumped off, Wisp was just, like, standing over the edge with his paw held out as if he pushed Christian off. Because, you know, cats just push things off of tables for no good reason.
And, like, he didn't actually do that. But anyway, so Christian was infuriated by this. So he says, I walk up to Wisp and strangle him. We're like, well, this sounds familiar. We're like, Christian, remember what I said. Don't piss off Wisp. Christian just thought at this time that Wisp was just an ordinary cat. There was nothing Wisp could do to him. So he grabs on to Wisp's neck, or at least attempts to. His hands freeze in midair. Wisp just looks at him before Wisp's eyes turn to flames, like burning hot flames. And a portal to hell opens up in the ground. Bloody pulls out, like, some damage dice, and he starts, like, rolling. And I'm like, Bloody, I think maybe you should roll, like, some specific dice in order to, like, damage him. And Bloody just walks over and he's like, no, this is the damage he's doing. And he throws it to me, and it's 2d100s. So those of you who don't know, that's up to 200 damage at maximum, but no, it only did, like, 76. Now, just to be clear, Wisp cannot use these powers on demand. He only uses them if players do things that are actively disrupting the session or just doing something...
Or trying to murder him!
Yes, something that is actually slowing the game down and not really adding anything to the story. In short, it keeps everyone from being stupid. So, Christian attempting to strangle Wisp, Wisp pulls him into hell, and Christian instantly died.
I literally described how, like, the tormented souls of hell were, like, grabbing onto his body parts and ripping his flesh off as he is pulled down into hell.
But then my character looks at Wisp, and we're like, Wisp, I know he deserved it, but we kind of need a full party here, so, I think he learned his lesson. Can you bring him back?
You got, like, a 13.
Yeah, we rolled to, like, persuade, so Wisp was, like, thinking, fine. So he summoned Christian back completely naked.
And that's how the whole party got scarred for life.
Yep. But after that, he never attacked Wisp again. In fact, a couple of campaigns later, a new guy joined our party, and he wanted Wisp's loot, because, I don't know, apparently Wisp had loot, so he said, like, I aim my bow at Wisp to kill him, and Christian himself went like, no, don't do it, man, don't do it, that's a bad idea. We're like, dude, Christian's saying it's a bad idea. You probably shouldn't. And
if Christian doesn't want to do it, it is really bad.
And so, to this day, Wisp remains unchallenged. Anyway, so that is the story about our party member, Christian. He is now actually a pretty good party member. He gets a lot of stuff done. He just had a bit of a rocky road.
Yeah.
But despite everything we're saying, he provides a lot of entertainment to D&D, and we're very grateful to have him in our party. Next time, we'll probably be talking about something very, very different. I don't think it'll be broken up into stories. I think we should, like, talk about the entirety of Campaign 2.
Yeah,
that was Campaign 2 was quite the shit face. Anyway, thank you all for listening. We will see you next time, and peace out.
Yeah!
Woo!